Over 60? Reverse muscle loss now. Add this one powerful food to your breakfast. It's a common and often bewildering experience for many over the age of 60, feeling perpetually weak and finding yourself falling despite diligently maintaining a healthy diet, religiously taking your supplements, and committing to regular exercise. This persistent and often frustrating decline in strength and vitality might very well be due to a condition known as sarcopenia, an ailment that is remarkably prevalent among seniors. Sarcopenia isn't just a simple byproduct of getting older. It's a specific and concerning process where your muscles begin to diminish in size and power at an accelerated rate as you advance in years. It signifies a significant imbalance where your body is actively losing muscle mass much more rapidly than it can possibly regenerate or build it back up. Envision your muscles as slowly but surely fading away, a gradual erosion that might not even be immediately visible to the naked eye. This silent depletion, however, has profound implications for your daily life, rendering once effortless tasks increasingly difficult and even hazardous. Simple actions like rising from a comfortable chair, carrying a bag of groceries, or maintaining steady balance while walking become challenging feats. The gravity of this situation is underscored by recent compelling research, which indicates that seniors can potentially forfeit up to a staggering 40% of their muscle mass annually. To put that into perspective, nearly half of your inherent muscle strength could vanish within a mere 12-month period if proactive measures are not swiftly adopted. It is precisely for this critical reason that in the following discussion, I intend to meticulously outline 5. To share your insights in the comments section below. I am committed to personally responding to each and every one of your valuable contributions. My name is Dr. Hillman, and I extend a warm welcome to the Senior Food Blog. Let us embark on this journey of discovery and rejuvenation together. Many people don't often stop to ponder the intricate processes unfolding within their muscles during the hours they spend asleep. It's far more than mere passive rest. It's a remarkably sophisticated two-step biological dance involving both breakdown and subsequent stronger rebuilding. Initially, throughout the day preceding your slumber, your muscles are actively engaged, utilized, and consequently accumulate minuscule, even microscopic tears within their delicate fibers. While the notion of tears might initially sound alarming, it is, paradoxically, precisely this controlled damage that acts as the vital catalyst, igniting the essential process of growth and repair. Following this, in the second crucial step, your body instinctively detects these micro-injuries and rapidly shifts into an intensive, full-on repair mode. It dispatches an array of specialized healing cells that meticulously patch up those tiny tears, diligently rebuilding the muscle fibers so they emerge thicker, more resilient, and ultimately far stronger than they were before. This is the profound secret, the underlying principle. Your muscles are not just recovering, they are intelligently adapting, preparing themselves to meet the demands of the ensuing day with enhanced capacity. However, there exists a crucial component of this repair process that an alarming number of individuals, particularly seniors, frequently overlook or entirely forget. This vital rebuilding and strengthening cannot effectively transpire without the provision of the correct nutritional fuel, especially during the critical morning hours. Your body specifically requires certain foods that serve as the fundamental building blocks, the raw materials, if you will, for constructing new muscle tissue. A significant proportion of this essential rebuilding activity occurs specifically after you have consumed your breakfast. Therefore, if your breakfast choices are not optimally aligned with these nutritional requirements, you are, in essence, actively depriving your muscles of their much-needed gains and sabotaging their potential for growth and repair. Regrettably, a prevalent and detrimental error committed by many seniors is feeding their muscles with entirely unsuitable foods upon waking in the morning. Consequently, before we transition to discussing the 5 profoundly beneficial foods you absolutely should be consuming at breakfast, I deem it imperative to first identify and elaborate on 5 specific foods that you absolutely must avoid in the morning, as they are demonstrably damaging to your muscle health. These are the 5 foods you should never, under any circumstances, incorporate into your breakfast if your aim is to halt the progressive loss of your precious muscle mass. First on our list of foods to avoid is white bread. Let us meticulously examine the physiological cascade that unfolds when you consume white bread in the morning. The instant this highly refined carbohydrate enters your stomach, it undergoes an extremely rapid breakdown, effectively converting into pure, unadulterated sugar that then inundates your bloodstream with alarming speed. In response to this sudden and massive influx of glucose, your body's sophisticated regulatory system, perceiving an urgent imbalance, panics and unleashes an immense surge of insulin, a hormone whose primary function is to bring this dangerously high sugar spike under control. But herein lies a critical and often misunderstood problem. These elevated insulin levels, far from being helpful, actually create a significant barrier, actively blocking your muscle cells from effectively utilizing protein to repair and rebuild themselves. It's an unfortunate paradox, akin to placing a literal lock on your vital muscle-building factory precisely at the moment when it is most critically required to be fully operational and engaged in repair. What's more, here is a shocking piece of information that the vast majority of seniors are unaware of. White bread does not merely impede muscle growth, it astonishingly accelerates muscle breakdown. When your blood sugar inevitably crashes following that initial dramatic spike, your body, in a desperate attempt to find an alternative energy source, commences breaking down your own muscle tissue to generate glucose. You are, quite literally, eroding your muscles with every single slice of white bread consumed. A compelling recent study meticulously tracked 2,000 seniors over an extensive 3-year period, all of whom reported consuming white bread daily for their breakfast. The findings from this research were nothing short of alarming. These participants experienced a staggering 23% greater loss of muscle mass compared to those seniors who conscientiously avoided white bread in their morning meals. This stark reality means that a significant portion of the population is inadvertently inflicting this damage upon themselves day after day. Allow me to illustrate this point with the poignant story of Margaret, a 62-year-old patient who first sought my help at the clinic approximately 2 years ago. Margaret was profoundly struggling with the quintessential symptoms of sarcopenia. Her daily life was punctuated by moments of immense effort. She found herself unable to rise from a seated position without the considerable aid of her arms for support. The simple act of carrying her groceries had become a formidable challenge, often requiring multiple breaks. Furthermore, she felt profoundly unsteady when navigating stairs and reported a constant, pervasive exhaustion, even after what she considered a full night's sleep. Alarmingly, she had already suffered 2 falls within the preceding 6 months, a situation that had understandably ignited considerable worry among her family members. Upon a thorough review of Margaret's detailed dietary history, a fascinating and revealing pattern emerged. Every single morning before heading to her job, she habitually prepared and consumed 2 slices of white toast, generously buttered. It was her go-to breakfast, quick, undeniably easy, and it provided a temporary sensation of fullness. She genuinely believed she was making a sensible and practical dietary choice. Yet, unbeknownst to her, that seemingly innocuous white bread was, day after relentless day, systematically contributing to the deterioration of her muscles. Following this discovery, I meticulously devised a new, comprehensive diet plan tailored specifically for Margaret, ensuring it incorporated the 5 powerful muscle-building foods that we will be discussing in greater detail later in this presentation. Within a remarkably short span of about 2 weeks, Margaret began to demonstrate truly significant and encouraging progress. She started the arduous but rewarding shocking piece of information that the vast majority of seniors remain blissfully unaware of. This habitual morning coffee ritual, consumed on an empty stomach, doesn't merely break down existing muscle. It astonishingly prevents your body from effectively building any new muscle for a considerable period, potentially up to 6 hours following consumption. The intense cortisol surge resulting from fasted caffeine intake actively blocks a pivotal muscle-building hormone known as IGF-1, insulin-like growth factor 1, which is absolutely essential for both muscle growth and repair. This means that even if you conscientiously consume protein later in the day, your body's sophisticated muscle-building machinery effectively remains switched off or severely inhibited, all because of that initial morning coffee mistake. A recent comprehensive study involving 1,600 seniors who reported drinking coffee on an empty stomach every morning for an extensive 14-month period yielded truly alarming results. These participants experienced a substantial 22% greater loss of muscle mass compared to seniors who either made sure to eat something before their coffee or who entirely abstained from morning caffeine. The meticulous researchers concluded that fasted caffeine consumption created a distinct physiological state they termed chronic muscle catabolism, a detrimental condition where the body continuously breaks down muscle tissue throughout the day, persisting even during periods of rest. One of my most challenging, yet ultimately rewarding cases involved James, a 62-year-old security guard who sought my consultation at the hospital. James was a dedicated family man, working 2 demanding jobs to provide for his loved ones: a grueling night shift at a warehouse followed by a day shift at an office building. He would return home utterly exhausted from his nocturnal duties, manage to snatch only 4 to 5 hours of sleep, and then rise early to immediately rush to his second job. Due to this relentlessly brutal schedule, James became heavily reliant on caffeine and coffee as his primary tools to stay awake and functional throughout his waking hours. We are talking about a considerable intake of 6 to 8 cups of coffee daily, almost invariably consumed on an empty stomach, simply because his packed schedule left him no time to eat. What James tragically didn't realize, however, was that this pervasive coffee habit, far from sustaining him, was slowly and systematically destroying his health, particularly his muscles. He began to experience severe and debilitating muscle weakness. He found himself increasingly unable to lift the heavy equipment required for his warehouse job and felt a constant, profound exhaustion despite the continuous influx of caffeine. His supervisor, observing this decline, was seriously considering the painful decision of letting him go, as James could barely perform his job duties. When he finally discovered that it was his unwitting coffee addiction that was systematically destroying his muscles, he was overcome with despair, feeling it was almost too late to reverse the damage. He had lost so much strength that even the simple act of climbing stairs left him breathless and gasping. However, with my guidance, he embarked on a journey to adjust his diet, gradually recover from his dependence on coffee and caffeine, and crucially began incorporating muscle-friendly foods into his breakfast instead of just the stimulant. Today, James is doing remarkably better. He can now competently work